rounding out the Saturday slate.
Yes.
NFC West battle.
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers destroyed them. Well, dominated on the defensive side of the ball in the first matchup. It's a huge matchup. Niners battling for that number one seed still, very much in the mix. Rams, disappointing effort last week against the Cowboys with their playoff hopes on the line.
Coming off an absolute embarrassment last week where they just got abused by the Dallas Cowboys. You would hope for some kind of reaction this week.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they don't get it, it could get ugly because the 49ers are every bit, if significantly better, in fact, than the Dallas Cowboys. So, the Rams need to legitimately bounce back, figure out what they're doing. The biggest problem we talked about on the podcast on Monday was they just got abused in the trenches on both sides of the ball.
Right.
The 49ers are capable of doing that to them. Their defensive line is dominant. Their offensive line is good. It might not be as good as Dallas's, but they
scheme it up as far as the run game goes too. I mean, They can create.
So either way, the same problems are in place, right? The things that cost them last week against Dallas are very real threats in this game as well. They need to have come up with answers over the course of the week.
Yeah, man. The Niners, they were inevitably gonna, I think, regress a little bit. They were so good in the first half of the year. They had this. I mean, they've been playing playoff game after playoff game, beat New Orleans in New Orleans, and then lose to the Falcons at home. Just weird stuff, right? But it is tough to just keep your team on point week after week. Plus, the Falcons, any given week, they can explode on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in this one, division matchup, they handled the Rams the first time. I think the 49ers take care of business. But, the Rams have a lot to play for pride-wise here after last week.
Yeah, I just hope there is some kind of reaction because last week was miserable, and if they have to go through that again, it's going to be pretty rough. Of course, they're likely to be down Pro Bowl level corner, Troy Hill. That's a big blow.
Broken thumb, not completely ruled out to play, but less likely. And then the other thing I'm looking for, Jalen Ramsey with the Rams. Mm-hmm. When that trade was made, a lot of people made the point Jalen Ramsey is not going to help you beat the 49ers. And it's well, I like the idea of drafting to beat teams in your division, but you really only play them twice. And it's not even a lock that the 49ers are going to be the best team that you're competing with over the next few years. But I do wonder, Ramsey didn't play in that first matchup. Does he match up with George Kittle? And the reason why people said he wouldn't match up well with the 49ers is because George Kittle's the top weapon, right? Do we see a little bit of Jalen Ramsey and George Kittle? We thought we'd see Ramsey and Gronk a couple years ago. We didn't really see much of it.
Part of that, though, was that, in what was essentially a foreshadowing of today's problems, the Patriots had Gronk and nothing else. So you actually needed to think about how do we stop Gronk, and then, we'll work out the rest after that.
Yeah.
The 49ers, I think that was probably true for a period, but now you have to worry about Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel. They actually have receivers to concern yourself with other than
Kyle Juszczyk,
George Kittle. So I don't know that would happen.
No, the Niners are definitely building their receiving core the way I would want it built. The ability to have a nice tight end that can control the middle of the field and create outside mismatches on the outside if you want to, deploy him there. But then you get some nice route runners as receivers. They've gotten, random good play, Kendrick Bourne, and, you got some size guys. You can scheme up stuff. You can trust guys in one-on-one situations. There's a lot of different ways to win if you're the
They're also
49ers. Almost
the poster child for building running backs, how you should build a running back, because almost everybody they have there is undrafted. The problem is they didn't take advantage of that because they went and grabbed them all in free agency and paid a ton of money to get them.
They did pay.
Tevin Coleman was a third-round pick.
They got him from the Falcons.
But Matt Breida, Mostert, Juszczyk, these are all undrafted guys. So if you were this is a team that schemes up the run well, calls plays well, you draft any old group of or grab any old group of undrafted running backs, put them behind this offense, it'll look great.
You know what I like even
Problem
more?
Is they actually paid a ton of money to do that.
But you know what I like more about those guys?
They're good.
They're fast.
Well, yeah.
I honestly think Al Davis and his, just penchant for just speed. Just give me the speed guys. I feel like it was harder to deploy the speed guys back then, even though it was more of a vertical passing game. I think it was a little bit harder. I think
But he also wanted it at all positions.
He did.
Like he would draft a corner if you ran a 4-2.
Yeah,
that's not helpful.
That's always going to be an issue. But I think in today's NFL, if we're going to say that running backs are interchangeable, right, and they're dependent on their run blocking, and you've got the jet sweep game, you have all these other ways to get the ball to these guys in space. I would get the speed guys, because if you could build everything else around them, all you're trying to do is put them in space, right? And then I don't care I want you to miss tackles and all that stuff, but I want you to stress the D. Mostert is fast. Tevin Coleman, fast. Matt Breida, he's a good athlete. I mean, they've done a really good job. They've got these athletes, and they find creative ways to get them into space as well. And they've got all these receivers and George Kittle. They do have this well-rounded group of playmakers now.
I mean, I think particularly in this kind of offense, speed is more useful than it is in some other systems where you actually need a running back to, pick his way through, define gaps at the line of scrimmage, measure his pace to let blocking set up. Like at this point, you can have guys that essentially just run towards the edge, and when they see the crease, just accelerate and fly.
Yeah. Anyway, I like the way the Niners are built. And I think they bounce back after last week's disappointing loss to the Falcons. They got the Rams this week and then at Seattle to finish the season. So they've got it's a tough road for them to, jump back into that number 1 seed spot. They're down at 5 right now at this exact moment. I'm taking the Niners here. You as well?
Yep. That's crazy how they went from wrapping up the number 1 seed to now they're the 5th seed.
I feel like we've been saying this for 3 years now. The NFC is so competitive. And then, like I said, the Niners have been playing playoff games. Mm-hmm. The Packers and Vikings are playing a playoff game Monday night. That's just what the NFC is.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.